I was on Cialis. I've been on it for years, on and off. And as I said, in the early days, it worked. Take half a pill, and I had the desired reaction. But the penis itself was never quite as. It was firm around the shaft, but not round the end, which of course is the more sensitive bit. And because that went on for over 10 years, effectively it just got worse and worse and worse. So having a sexual encounter itself was just not as pleasurable as it should be, because the sensitivity in the end wasn't there. And I'll be honest with you, I was very disappointed in GPs, because no matter which GP I saw, there's clearly a lack of knowledge in this area. And frankly, it destroyed me emotionally. And I went into the clinic, and on the first day, there was that much pent-up emotion. And actually, I got upset emotionally. I literally started crying. And I'm not a guy who cries, or anybody will tell you, but it's because when you're in that position that you've got kind of all this trauma wrapped up in your head, you're locked in your own psyche, if you will, and you can't express it. And to meet somebody who says, I know exactly what's happening, and they explain it, and as a non-medical person, to have somebody sit down and explain things in practical, logical terms, even about the emotional side, even about the impact it had on my relationship, or why that happened. I didn't really understand that, because I'm not a woman. I can't understand it from my wife's point of view, but equally she couldn't understand it from my point of view. And what it did, it helped me to take that information home and explain. I get emotional now about it. Explain to her what was happening. And of course, there is a kind of code of silence among men, I might add, that we don't talk about this stuff. It's embarrassing. Since I found out about it, I've been very open about it. I've been on blogs and websites and spoke to people about it. I spoke about it among friends. And what shocked me, especially among closer friends, males that I spoke to about it, the amount of said to me, that happened to me, And I'm like, whoa, this is more common than I thought. And I'd say probably a good 30% of them admitted that, I've had similar-ish problems, all related to that part of the anatomy that men never talk about. And effectively, as I say, by going to the ED clinic overnight, I met somebody who understood it, who explained it to me in rational medical terms, who had a little diagram that said, this is what it looks like, this is what's going on. And I thought, so it's not me. So all this up here suddenly was put into place. It was logical. I could understand. I noticed that my erection was getting firmer and stronger. And I thought, that's weird. And we did make love, which, given the fact that it had probably been 8-9 months, maybe more, that we hadn't, and no matter how I tried, I just couldn't perform. And I couldn't maintain an erection. It was, in fact, I'm saying 8-9 months, it's probably longer than that. It's probably nearer 2 years that I couldn't maintain an erection. It had just completely gone. Even with medication, it had become difficult. And I noticed after the third treatment, something had changed. And the way it was described to me is, all shockwave therapy does is kind of break down the plaque that's blocking and allows the body to repair itself. So it's kind of non-invasive, if you will. I mean, it sounds terrible, shockwave therapy. It makes it sound like you got bloody, electrodes on your testicles or something, but there's no shock involved. You know what I mean? There's nothing painful about it. But because it was such a relaxed atmosphere, it worked very well. But yeah, I would say three weeks, everything from 3 weeks onwards, it started to improve. It can, if we go back, we've had holidays recently, and we've probably made love more in the last probably 6 months than we probably have done in the last 8-9 years. You know what I mean? Because things feel better, things feel more normal, more natural. So as a result, anybody with any kind of erectile dysfunctions or, don't keep it in. Go and see somebody. Go and speak to somebody. Speak to somebody who knows. That's the difference. And that's what I'd recommend, because even if you go for a consultation and have the conversation, the initial consultation, which is, doesn't cost you anything to have a chat, to meet somebody who can put things in practical terms, that in itself psychologically puts things in order in your mind, and you stop beating yourself up. You start focusing on what's important, which is your relationship, and then you start to make a plan, and that's what you need to do. It's as simple as that.